Hello, you wonderful people. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are talking about how to increase the views on your Instagram stories. Now, this idea came up because of this video that we did here, where we talked about the increasing importance of DMs and stories on Instagram. And a question we got a lot was, how do I increase my Instagram stories views? What am I supposed to do? Right. So we're going to talk about how you can actually optimize your stories for more views tactically, and then we'll get into some best practices overall for increasing your story views and creating a healthy Instagram profile. Let's dive in.
The first way to get more views on your Instagram stories is to use engagement stickers on your first story of a set. So Instagram's algorithm really values the interactions that come from engagement stickers. So it's really important that you do utilize them. So what are the engagement stickers? They are things like Q&A, poll, the emoji slide. You want your first story frame to be something that people don't just skip on by. And one of the best ways to do that is to get them to physically engage with it via the stickers. That will encourage the algorithm to serve it to more people because it's telling it that this is an engaging piece of content and more people need to see it. So pro tip here, think of some important content that you can share as a minimum 2-frame set. You would introduce that content with a sticker, and that would pose the problem that your audience might be facing. And then the second frame would be the solution. So that's what we typically do at Higher Season. You may have noticed we would ask a question, whether it's a multiple choice or a Q&A or something of that nature. And then the second one will be the solution to that problem, and often would point to another offer, maybe point to our YouTube video or a freebie or something along those lines. So you should be able to think of something like that that would work for your particular niche.
Another way to get more views on your Instagram stories is to add a hook or a cliffhanger. So TV shows, and especially soap operas, have had this right from the beginning. What you want to do is avoid people either exiting or skipping, as we mentioned, to the next story. You especially don't want them to skip to the next account. You want them to get through that whole set. So when we say set, that could be of 2 or 3, but it's the amount of stories that you have currently active. And a great way to do this is by encouraging people to get to the next frame. People don't want to be left hanging. They want to know what's next. And you can do that by introducing text on your story that pushes them to go to the next frame instead of exiting or going to another account. So a great way to do this would be in the first story, for example. From our perspective, it would be tap for the free resource, for example. Or you could say, this thing helped me get 5x views on my stories, for example. And then they have to tap through to find out what that is. If you were somebody who was doing a behind the scenes, for example, we did that with hotels where we would show like, oh, you have to see the bedroom, tap through to see what the bedroom looks like, you know, or tap for my best tips on X. So find out how that can apply to your niche, but overall you want to make sure that they're not exiting, but that they're actually encouraged to go to the next story.
The next way to increase your views on Instagram stories is to invite people to DM you. We've spoken about this in the past, how Instagram is prioritizing DMs because of one, the popularity they have with users. Like, we love them. I'm DMing people every day, but also what that actually means for the relationship between the accounts on Instagram. So it actually is a marker in the algorithm between the two accounts that there's some sort of a relationship if they are DMing each other, because that is the most intimate way to communicate on the platform. This will allow your account to appear more frequently in the stories, particularly in the beginning of the stories of an account that you are having DMs with. So it's pretty important to be in as many DMs as possible. When inviting people to DM you, make sure that it ladders back up to a business goal and serves an actual purpose. So for example, if you are a hair care company, you could ask people in your stories to say, hey, what are some of the problems that you're experiencing with your hair? And obviously you're going to have a solution for those, which would lead to a business goal of either brand awareness or direct sales. And you can automate this using ManyChat, who is the glorious sponsor of this video. So ManyChat is our favorite automation tool for Instagram. It actually works for Facebook and WhatsApp as well. Instagram is where we really, really love it. So if you're unfamiliar with ManyChat, essentially what it does is automate the process of functions like this on Instagram that we're speaking about today. So the main way you might see us use it is we could ask for a comment. So we could ask someone to say, hey, comment this particular keyword on a post, and then we'll DM you whatever it is that we may be promoting. Now, we use that for basically all of our freebies and all of our YouTube videos and anything else that we are trying to promote. And when I tell you the level of improvement in our engagement, Tiffany, it's out of control.
Out of control.
It's truly like miraculous. If you go to our post from say a year ago and our post today, it's night and day what that does. So ManyChat works really, really well for stories. So you could either put some text on the screen with an instruction to reply to the story with a specific keyword, and then you will DM whatever it is that you're promoting, or you could say it on a video. You can actually say it on there, which is probably a great idea as well. And also to have either the captions on the screen or to write it there to be very, very specific. And when someone replies with that keyword, the ManyChat automation that you would have set up very easily with their simple to use templates, which are phenomenal, and that will just DM them exactly what it is that you've prepared. So you would say something like, hey, thanks for the DM. Looks like you're interested in our video. Here's the link. Enjoy. Let us know what you think. And that's the simplest way to do it. And it has so many more robust features. It's impeccable.
Yeah, I think one of my favorites here, sorry to interrupt you because I love this, is like using it as a quiz. So because they have templates where you can use quizzes and do like questionnaires. If you do have a product, for example, and you want to learn more, even especially if you're in like product development, say, but even in general, if you have a ton of offers and you want to see what might be best for somebody, you could do a little quiz with them and you could say like, hey, DM me and we'll figure out what's best for you. They DM you and you start that quiz segment that you'd all have created already within ManyChat. Or you could do it to just actually survey your audience and learn more information for a product you'd be creating. So that's my favorite use case of it, but it works in every use case in terms of getting someone into your DMs. So you're already getting more views because you're getting this interactivity, but you're also getting DM activity. So it's awesome.
And it keeps them in the DM for longer if you do the quiz function as well. But even if you're not ready for that, like it isn't much more complicated. It's very, very simple to use. And that's why we love it. It's so effective and it's such a great tool, whether you're a creator, a small business, it doesn't matter. There's a way to use it that's going to help you rank higher in the algorithm period and specifically to get more views on your stories. Now, if you want to try ManyChat, you can hit the link in the description. It's completely free to try the free account. But if you use our code HIGHSEASON, you can actually get 30 days free. So a full month free of their pro plan, which gives you access to all of their key features. And we would highly recommend that, mostly because you get to actually try it out for the full weight of what it can do for you. And you can see if you need the pro features or whether the free features will do for whatever it is that you're using. So link is in the description. ManyChat, the best thing you can do for your business this year.
Another great way to get more views on your Instagram stories is to share quick hits of inspiration or entertainment. And when we say this, it's because you want to create that connection through hyper relevant content. Now, this might not be content that you actually own. It's just content that you know will resonate on a human level with your audience. And remember, these connections and that community building is so key. So what this looks like for us, for example, is we may share a quote that we'll create in Canva or that we source from somewhere else. And the reason that we're doing that is because we know that we have creators and business owners who have hopes and dreams just like we do that are watching our content, and we want to boost them. And then we also want to connect with them in that way. So that might get you a like or a heart or even a DM if it really hits. We'll also share like memes and silly content that is like very relevant also to social media managers and other marketers, things like that, especially for business owners. And those always do really, really well as well. And the reason is because people connect to it on a human level. And something that you can do to really get content that hits is look at what's performing well elsewhere, because that will likely indicate what will perform well in your stories too. And the reason we want content like this that performs well, that's a bit easier, that's why we say it's a quick hit, it's not something you're creating, you're more curating, is because we want that engagement, that interaction, those responses, those likes, those heart emojis, everything that people will send your way with those pieces of content, so that Instagram is like, whoa, what's this? I gotta share it with more people. And that's why you have a lot of people that you might follow even and they just share a bunch of memes, but because you're liking it and reacting, even if you have that friend that just curates memes all the time, they keep coming up in your feed because you keep engaging with their content, and so do other people as well. So build that for yourself as long as it makes sense for your niche. Use that same tactic that's working for an everyday person and apply that to yourself because it works.
Another great way to increase your Instagram story views is to replicate your top performing stories content. So the easiest way to do this is to head into your insights. You'd be best to look for the ones that had the most story interactions and the most reach. Those will give you the best metrics to gauge whether it was a high performing piece of content. And once you've identified those pieces of content, see if you can find a pattern there. If there is something that you're doing that continually over time is resonating with your audience, even if you didn't intend it to be that way, then that's something you're going to want to try and replicate again. And just to see if it works. And the good thing about stories, one, is less impact overall as far as you don't have to worry about a post on a feed that's not performing. It'll disappear in 24 hours. So the impact is fine. Testing is best in stories, so you don't have to worry about that. And then you get some learnings and you can see, okay, well, maybe that worked for a period of time. It's not working now. Let's go back into the insights and see if we can find something else and identify some other patterns. It's definitely something you're going to want to continually do and make a consistent part of your Instagram strategy.
Now let's talk about some of the additional best practices, the fundamentals of great Instagram story content that will help you increase views and make more engaging pieces of content. 1, tell a story.
Always.
And this is really going to be through the context that you add. Don't just throw up something randomly without any information or background behind it. When we were talking about story sets, this is a really great opportunity for you. For example, if something's happening, see how you can spread that out over 3 stories using the processes that we talked about. So with an engagement sticker on the first story, like we mentioned, or through the uses of hooks or cliffhangers, see how you can think of your stories as several parts that have a beginning, a middle, and an end. As with all good things, it's in storytelling, right? That's what captivates people. So think about how you tell a story with your stories.
Another way is to just simply show up. People want to see your face for the most part. Most businesses are going to have a face behind it, particularly smaller businesses. And of course, if you're a creator, it's really all about your story. So just show up, give us some face time. That's what people really are there for. And your feed is going to be highly curated, and the stories, like we were saying, isn't as much. So you can kind of be a little rough with it. You don't really have to make it pretty. You don't have to worry about filters. You could just use your phone. You don't need to be using a camera.
It's just connection.
So just get in there, show your face. If you're not comfortable showing your face, let them hear your voice. Stay behind the camera, and then let people just hear that there's a real person behind the account. People connect with people.
Exactly. And then another way is to use mixed media. So when you're thinking again about your story sets or what you're sharing, don't go all static and don't go all video. Change it up. And the reason you want to change it up is just to keep people engaged. Very simple rule. Also works in feed as well, but we'll stick to stories on this one.
There's almost nothing worse than an account that you got the little tiny dots and they're all videos.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. So give them a little bit of video and then give them a break. And then give them a few static, whether it's a graphic design or whether it's just a photo, whatever it might be. Giving them that break and diversifying the content, super key for keeping them engaged.
Exactly.
Another great tip is to use native captions within Instagram, or put up some summary text, which I really like that one, so that people who may be watching on public transport or can't listen to the audio at that particular time, they're able to follow along with what you're saying, or at least get a summary of what you're saying via the text on stories. I mean, obviously we say that for every reel you should be doing that, or for every video you're posting. Same deal goes for stories. Let them see it. I really don't listen to anything ever unless it's really important. But for the most part, I really don't do it. So the captions or those summaries are really, really key. Otherwise, I'm out of here. You don't want that.
And then another great tip is to leave 24 hours in between your stories. So the last story and then your next story, so that you let it expire, especially if you find that the engagement is low. You don't want to put something important after a story that's underperforming. So give it that space. And then in that space, when you launch your new story, add an engagement sticker, just like we said at the beginning, to get us looped back into higher performing stories that will be served more consistently. All right, y'all, that is it for today. That is how you can increase your Instagram story views. Thank you so much to ManyChat for sponsoring this video. Again, the link will be in the description. You can use code HIGHSEASON to get their pro plan for free for 30 days. Thank you so much for coming back to watch, and we definitely recommend that you check out this video next because it will be super helpful for you. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Peace.